Hello, everyone. Welcome to another BRAP. It is Wednesday, October the 9th. And just want to first of all, want to wish everyone that's in Florida, hope everyone there is hopefully safe. Prayers to those that are going to be impacted by Hurricane Milton. It's just, this is Florida. Florida can't catch a break. And I do have a couple friends that are down there, coworkers that are down at the western part of Florida, outside of Tampa, outside of Sarasota, and just wishing them all the best. So my thoughts and prayers are with those individuals down there right now. And it's unfortunate, too, that the storm's been politicized. There's a lot of misinformation, disinformation about storm response. There's also some disinformation that by a particular elected official in Congress that somehow they can create storms. Yes, the weather machine, exactly. I mean, Jesus. I mean, that is pathetic. It is pathetic that we are in a situation where we have members of the government of Congress that are, spreading disinformation and suggesting there's some kind of weather machine out there that is creating these storms. Just crazy talk. I don't understand how we got here. It's really unfortunate. And it just seems like we live in an era, I feel like, where like just the standard of the bar, if you will, for truth has just been completely washed out, just completely thrown out the window. We see it in gaming now. I saw somebody say, I hope BRAP doesn't go on a DI rant. But you see that now. You see where people are grifting off of DEI and woke as it relates to gaming. You see people just grifting off negativity as it relates to gaming. Gaming's supposed to be fun. And it's just crazy that we've seen this injection of rage and misinformation, disinformation, and just anger in gaming. Gaming's supposed to be fun, right? Gaming's supposed to be a fun hobby, a form of entertainment. Just wild times that we live in. Anyhow, but anyhow, so got a lot to talk about. There's an app for the weather. Yeah, RKDO, cloud seeding is real, but not the way people are suggesting that it's intent. That it's people are. I've seen some conspiracy theories saying cloud seeding is controlling hurricanes, making them more powerful. That's not actually what cloud seeding has been used for. Actually, it's cloud seeding has been used to modify weather, or try to modify weather. And its effectiveness is still a topic of debate among scientists anyway. I mean, yeah. So there's that. I mean, it just really hasn't. I mean, if it was something that was, think about this, in areas where there was droughts, if it was something that would be effective, you would see more of that. It would actually work. But scientists are debating about how effective that is and how it could significantly enhance precipitation. So it's a thing, but it's not a thing that may not be May not be a thing that is, working, or it may not be a thing that people are. Some of the conspiracy theorists are saying that it's a thing that impacts storms, that it's manipulating the strength of hurricanes. And that's just not true. Anyhow, all right. So got a lot to talk about, actually. Some big Halo news, some Metaphor Re-Fantazio reviews. We'll talk about that. I'm excited. Probably going to be. So I think it's just going to be me tonight. This may be a quick BRAP. We have people angry about Nintendo alarm clock, the Alarmo. People are upset about that. I feel like, again, people just seem to be upset about everything these days. I don't know. People seem to be on edge. I say if it's not for you, don't buy it. Simple as that. I do want to talk about because on the back of the Silent Hill 2 reviews that came out last week, and now the Metaphor Re-Fantazio reviews that just came out yesterday. I remember there's a lot of conversation early on this year that maybe this wasn't going to be a good year for gaming. And I got to say, like, it is this has been a pretty good year, I think, for gaming. I think this has been a pretty good year. This has been a solid look. I mean, look, 2023 was loaded with great games. Baldur's Gate 3, Street Fighter 6, Alan Wake 2. I get it. Baldur's Gate 3 is my game of the generation. It's one of the best games I've ever played. But 2024 has been pretty good, I think. Look, 2024, you've had Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree, Dragon's Dogma 2, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Silent Hill 2 Remake, which, shout out to Bloober Team. I think many of us were probably skeptical whether or not Bloober Team would stick the landing, and looks like they did stick the landing. So, I mean, kudos to them. By the way, do me a favor. I just drop a link here in the live chat. Please let everyone know that we're live. I need to retweet the link too, but Twitter's not working right now. Oh, here we go. All right, BRAP is live. Oh my God, someone just posted on Twitter, A to Z bail bonding will have you out before the soap hits the floor. That is hilarious. That's funny. I need to respond to that. That's some funny shit. All right, so we've had Helldivers 2, Prince of Persia. I'm trying to think. I know I'm missing a bunch of games that have come out this year. Astrobot, Balatro, which I remember a lot of people talking about that game quite a bit. I haven't played it. Hades 2, Paper Mario, Persona 3 Reload. I did mention Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance. I mean, shout out to Atlas, by the way. Shin Megami Tensei 5, Persona 3 Reload. Now, Metaphor Re-Fantazio. I mentioned Silent Hill 2. Black Myth Wukong. Children of the Sun. Diablo 4 Vessel Hatred. The return of EA Sports College Football 2025. Euden Chronicles. Final Fantasy 16. I mean, just Kanutsugami, Legend of Zelda, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, Marvel's vs. Capcom Fighting Collection. I think this has been a good year for gaming. Stellar Blade. Tales of Kanzira, Tekken 8, Unicorn Overlord, Warhammer 40,000, Space Marine 2. I just think this has been a really good year. I think this has been a good year for gaming. There's been a lot of variety too, which is great. I don't think we celebrate that enough. Yeah, the new Dragon Ball game. Yeah, Corey Massey, we have Dragon Age Veilguard coming out as well. My backlog is ridiculous. And it's unfortunate, like I'm listening to podcasts, I'm listening to, I'm watching content creators on Twitter, and I see more complaining than I do gaming. I don't see the celebration of 2024. It's been a great year for gaming. There's been some great games. Ultros, which is a Metrovania game, was well reviewed. The Rogue Prince of Persia. I mean, there's been Pacific Drive. There's just been such a nice variety of games for different types of gamers who have different taste. Yeah, Corey Massey's right. It says it hasn't been a great year for fanboys. It's been a great year for gamers. Now, speaking of gamers, I want to welcome this gentleman to the show, Mr. Slow-Mo Backslap. Slow-Mo, what's going on, man?
Yo, what up? What up? How's it going, man?
It is going. You look, this isn't a sports podcast. You know we got to talk. You know we got to talk Commander, sir.
Oh, we out here doing the great. Now I don't want to jinx it.
Yeah,
because we're about to play Baltimore, and I just got a feeling we probably not going to win it, not because of Jaden, but because our defense.
We're going to smash Baltimore.
Exactly. See, man, Enrique, you jinxing this, man.
No,
you can't have that level of. I don't know. Maybe it's when
28-21. 28-21.
Well, that's not smashing, but I think it's going to be a higher scoring game than that because we're averaging 31 points a game, and
they're giving up.
Ravens defense ain't. The Ravens defense ain't that great, but neither is our offense, and they have the number one offense in the league right now. So I think I think we're probably going to be, it's probably going to be a shootout, I think. But I mean, I guess we'll see how the ball falls. But I just bought something earlier today. I bought a NVIDIA Shield.
Oh, okay. Detail. How do you like it?
Well, I haven't. I'm taking it out of the box now. See, the reason why I bought it, I only bought it to do one specific thing. I want to use a program called Moonlight on it, and then I'm going to use a program called Sunshine on my PC. And I'm basically going to stream my my PC to the NVIDIA Shield. I'm going to put it like on the other side of my house. Where my OLED is, and then whenever I just don't feel like getting up to go into my office where my PC is, and play games in my office, I'll just do that while I'm over in the family room area in my basement. So
nice.
Still haven't got everything set up yet, but just taking out the boxes. It doesn't come with a stand. I don't know what is going on with.
You got to buy that
products
separate, man.
now.
That's what companies do.
That don't come with stands. I see where Sony got it from, because this NVIDIA Shield isn't new. I mean, it's new to me because I bought it brand new, but it's not like a brand new device. But the fact that they sell it with no stands a little interesting. So I'll have to go buy myself a stand separately.
So Slim, I want to go back to the Commanders real quick, man.
Okay.
Jaden Daniels. I mean, look.
Offensive Rookie of the Year locked up.
I mean, look, people are talking about MVP already. I think that's a bit premature.
Yeah, he should. Yeah, he should be in the conversation, though. Yeah,
you think so?
Based on the first 5 weeks.
It's so early, though. I hear you.
Think about what the title is: most valuable player. Who has been more valuable to their team than Jaden Daniels to the Commanders? He makes everything work.
I tell you what, I tell you what, man. We've talked behind the scenes about his preparation, how he preps using VR. It's also been reported that he gets to Commanders Park. He gets to Ashburn before everyone else. 4 a.m. He's there.
Mm-hmm.
By the time everyone else arrives, he's already done his workout and he's watched game film. The guy,
and when he's not in the park, he's using a VR program called VTech, where he gets the game plan and he gets it downloaded to this VR program, and he gets to basically reenact the game plan and the reps that he needs for in-game, while basically it's almost like playing a video game for him. He's been doing that since last year when he had his last year at LSU. So if you look at like his stats, he was always a good quarterback, but just kind of like he needed some more, polishing. He was getting better, but his play went up dramatically once he started using VR. And so I think a lot of other quarterbacks are going to start using VR. Or maybe just other positions too, to help them prepare. And it may be like a young guy's thing, like Aaron Rodgers, old ass ain't getting VR. But the young kids might decide to roll with that, because it's they get it, and they get how it could be influential to them getting better. But like, first thing he did when he showed up after he got drafted is he told Washington, I want my VR program. So it's a part of his process. I think that's the reason why he's so poised when he played in the games. It's like, yeah, I've been doing this on my own.
Well, I
all week long.
I think the other thing, and one of the things I liked about him coming out of college, and I remember a lot of people were like, oh, Drake May. I'm like, no, not Drake May.
He's just getting to start now. Drake May's going to start this Sunday.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, I did see that.
Stink.
But like you and I talked about before the draft, the thing I liked about him, Slimo, Jaden Daniels, is that he's played like a lot of college football.
Yeah.
And then he also played in the SEC, which I always say is the minor league system of the NFL.
Yeah, it's the hardest division to play in. So it's like,
Alabama
you're going up against players who are going to be in the league like you.
The best defenses too. Yeah, best defenses in college football.
Yep, and you torched them.
Yeah, and he just like lit them up like Christmas trees. It was just like what he did, and it reminded me of Joe Burrow. What Burrow did at LSU, his Heisman season.
Mm-hmm.
You see how well Joe Burrow's doing, and it's a shame that the Bengals suck, but
not his fault though. He's been putting in work.
Oh, he's been balling. But Sunday's going to be a great game, Slim. I'm looking forward to it. Battle of the Beltway. For those who don't know, where the Commanders play in Maryland is about 45 minutes south of Baltimore. So, but yeah. So yeah, Slobo. So I was talking about 2024, kind of running down a list of games that have come out that have been well reviewed, and I think this has been a good year for gaming. I don't see a lot of people talking about. I know we've been talking about the grifting. I feel like there's a lot of more. There's more grifting than there is actual talking about video games and the great games that have come out this year.
Yeah, I think people don't. I think there are a lot of people who aren't in the gaming community because they love games. Some of them I don't think even play games, but I think the majority of them are just kind of sort of like games, but they're not really like in it for the love of video games. And so what they're in it for is the love of attention and the love of reoccurring revenue that they get out of basically creating a persona online. And I think one of the worst things that has really happened to the gaming community is how Twitter has monetized engagement. And ever since Twitter monetized engagement, we get so many people that just are blatantly lying. And not just in gaming, you'll see videos where people are misrepresenting what the video is really about. And doing it so that they could drive intention, drive outrage in order to get likes, views, impressions, all that stuff that, Twitter cuts them a check at the end of the month, and they don't want to do, like, they'll do it any way they possibly can. So if doing that is telling people that, diversity is the devil, so be it. They may not even agree with what they're saying, but if you agree with it, or as I've been trying to tell people over the past week, that quote retweeting these people and cussing them out or saying what an idiot is no different than quote retweeting them and saying you agree. The impressions don't matter. There is no dislike button. So if you give it attention and then you're boosting it with your followers across the internet, you're giving them exactly what they want: more attention. They don't care that you cuss them out. They don't care that you think they're a racist or a sexist or whatever it is, or an idiot. They don't care because you're giving them engagement. And so I just block everybody that's doing that. I block them, and I don't like, I'm not even screenshotting what they're saying and then using that screenshot to then talk about it, because I don't want to give it attention like that. And if anything, if I do mention anything, it's to correct the record, because like there was a Halo tweet that came out and it was just like, oh my god, BS. It's just like so obvious it's a lie. If you look at it for 5 seconds, that this is nonsense.
What is even dumbfounding to me is that the lack of reading comprehension by people. Like, read what the guy's saying. Like, he is specifically stating that he wouldn't necessarily want to work on a game that what did he say that he didn't say the word uses. What did he say?
He has a problem, and if you actually look at the profile, which one, if you looked at his profile, you would know that the impression given by the screenshot by the grifter who put it up there is a lie. He's not a creative director at Halo.
Not a creative director. He's a producer. Yeah, but even then,
if you go back to the date, if you go back to the date that he sent the tweet, that day, earlier in that day, I looked at his timeline. He was tweeting about a mass shooting, and he was triggered / upset about a mass shooting. So that's why he said what he said. But even then, he's like, I am happy that I work on Halo. Fortunate I work on Halo because it's sci-fi. So it's not like modern real guns. Like in Call of Duty and Battlefield, you're shooting real guns that are real guns in real life. Like you could find that gun, at a gun store. That's not reality in Halo. Those guns aren't real. So regardless, he's not even a creative person. Like, he doesn't do any kind of designing or anything like that in the game. So even if he did have a problem with it, it doesn't change what actually is happening in the development of Halo. And what if he did? What if he really was the creative director? It's freaking Halo. How many Halos have there been already? What's he going to do? Change the way Master Chief does? Is Master Chief going to give the Covenant a stern talking to? Like, use your brains for a moment. You're an idiot if you think that's going to change how Halo is. It's just, you're dumb, and you're too dumb to be having these takes. It's crazy. Go ahead, my bad.
Well, I mean, I don't disagree with you. I agree with 110% everything you just said. I mean, it is, and they had something taken out of context to anger people. You had people literally tweeting, I don't know about this. Microsoft should have done a better job venting the developers now. And to your point, Slow-Mo, some of that is annoying too. They did off of looking at the picture of a woman. They looked at the picture of a black woman and said, "This is what's wrong with Halo." What exactly? What did she do besides exist that determined that this is what's wrong with Halo? That she works there, and you don't like the way she looks? Well, I mean, yeah, that's probably part of it. And the other thing is, yes, exactly the reading comprehension, where he specifically states like not wanting to work with games that fantasize or take real weapons, and he lists specific games: Call of Duty, Battlefield, Rainbow Six Siege. I mean, like, those are different. Like, he's not talking about taking away weapons in Halo. like he's talking about real weapons. Like there's no M4 in Halo. You know what I'm saying? There's no M16 in Halo. You know? There's no AR-15 in Halo. I mean, like, if people acting like, oh my God, they're gonna take away, it's like, and now, speaking of grifting, Slow-Mo, I think there's and we'll talk about this a little bit. I think there's a grift that is around Halo now. And, and what they showed about Master Chief's armor, the way his armor appears. Oh my gosh. It's like people just like, it literally, what bothers me, Slow-Mo, it's the same original armor from Combat Evolved. It's the same armor. It actually is. It's just tell me you haven't played Halo without tell me there's a lot of people exposing themselves, and some of them work for big gaming media places too. You mean like I don't know what 343i means? Have you ever heard of what 343 means? I don't know. Jesus. I mean, the studio's been around for over a decade, and you never figured it out. You never clearly just tell me you didn't play any significant time in any of the original trilogy that you don't know who 343 Guilty Spark is. Oh my God! I mean, he was only introduced halfway through the Halo Combat Evolved campaign, but sure, like you don't know that. And he was on. But you're a big Halo fan. He was on the show too, but Hey, I'm not slandering the man because he said what he said, and I'm just giving very constructive criticism in his lack of knowledge about games that are mainstays to the Xbox platform. I mean, it's like the equivalent of not knowing who Princess Peach is. And you're supposed to be a Nintendo fan, or not. Who's Bowser? I mean, who's Nathan Drake? I'm a big PlayStation fan. Never heard of Nathan Drake, but though, like, it's just, what are we talking about? Hey, but I do think I saw somebody tweet this, and I believe this now. We need to do a better job at gatekeeping the gaming community. I'm serious about that. I don't think I've ever said that before, but I think we need to do a better job at that. I want to introduce real quick B Monday to the show. B, what's going on, man? Oh, B can hear us. He's on mute. All right, we'll get back to B.
Yeah. I'm BRAP. What's going on, fellas?
What's up, B? What's going on, man?
Not much, B. Man. I just got in the house, man. Came back from walking my dog. And I didn't realize it was past 9 o'clock already. So
no worries.
I had to hop in here real quick, man.
Hey, B, since you're here, look, I know this isn't a sports podcast, but Your team, Caleb Williams, looking better. He's looking good now. I think he's played better the last 2 weeks.
He's getting better week by week.
Yeah,
it's definitely work in progress.
But what do you think of Jaden Daniels, man?
He's playing better within structure. That's always been kind of like the struggle with Caleb.
No,
he's doing that better now.
He definitely is.
Yeah. Got to take it sometimes.
Yeah, he's been good, like freestyling. You know, that's what he did in college. But I mean, you can't do that in the pros. You got 3 seconds to throw the ball. If not, you're getting hit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Find the open dude, throw it on time, or throw him open.
Right.
But yeah, you can't spin off a dude and roll out every play.
You can't do that. No.
You're going to throw some picks.
Yeah.
As he's seen.
So B, I think Caleb has been impressive the last 2 weeks. But I got to ask you though, what do you think of Jaden Daniels?
He's a beast, man. He's definitely playing better than I thought he was, and you know, it also comes when you don't have that much expectation for him. You know what I mean? So now he's playing out of his mind. He's on everybody's radar now. So I like what he's doing, man. He's playing smart. He's playing within the offense, not trying to force anything. He finds the open guy. He's got a big arm, so he got a bright future in Washington, man.
Yeah,
I like something that happened last week. The Browns is a really good defense, but they basically torched them, and Jaden didn't even play in the fourth quarter. They sat him down because they knew the game was over. But like on one of the scoring drives, Jaden, they had to play. The Browns pretty much covered everyone, locked it up. Jaden escaped the pocket, and he may have gained like 4 yards, ran out of bounds. As he's walking past the offensive coordinator, Cliff, he says to him, "We need to test them deep right now." Like he said that. So he said in the press conference afterwards.
Yeah, he said they're playing man. We need to go deep. Yeah. Take a shot.
And very next play, they dialed it up, and he hit Dami Brown for like 30, 40 yards down the field. The dude, he's not playing like a rookie quarterback. He's playing like a veteran. Like the stuff that he's doing is what not really like how rookies play. And as I'm watching like his games, like you see him already kind of progressing, like almost in real time. Like he's figuring it out. Like defense, like the first week, they blitz the hell out of him, as you always do with rookie quarterbacks, because typically they can't handle all the pressure.
Early.
Yeah, and he made teams pay for that. You blitz him, he's gonna run for like 40 yards. So it's just like they stopped blitzing, then they started trying to disguise coverages. Okay, we're gonna give him a pre-snap look, like we're gonna go man, but then post snap, we're going to switch to like a cover 2 or something. He's figuring it out before they do it. And they're using like, he's motioning receivers from one side of the field to the other to see, because like if you're doing if you're trying to disguise your coverage, but if you're really a man and I move a dude to the other side of the field and that guy doesn't follow him, I know you're not really a man. You're just faking it. So he's right. Already figured this stuff out, and it's just like this is stuff that quarterbacks who've been in the league for like 3 years still struggle with. RG3 never learned how to do this stuff.
No, he didn't. Hey, real quick.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we'll grab the super chat real quick, guys, before I forget. Cyfix38 with the $5 super chat says, "Wish we could go back to Game Pro magazine days when everyone enjoying games." I hear you. B, we were talking about like before you jumped on, we were discussing 2024, which I think just based on some of the reviews of games that I just went down a list of games that reviewed well, critically well received, games that gamers have talked about. I think it's been a pretty good year, 2024, for gaming. But as I was saying to Slomo, people seem more angry than they are excited about the games that have come out this year, because I think it's been a pretty good year for gaming.
Oh yeah, I said last year, or at the tail end of last year, I thought, at least for me, that this would be a better year as far as the games that I was interested in. And when you look at some of the top rated games, I mean, Metaphor being like the latest one, I've been talking about that game for a couple of years now, and it is definitely looking like it's living up to the hype. So, I mean, there's been a lot of great games this year, but there hasn't been like that big, the big standout game, for a lot of people. Whereas, we
like
would
a
normally
Baldur's Gate 3.
yeah, I mean, even that, like, that was big, but it wasn't, it's not like an Elden Ring where, like, it reaches the masses and everybody's talking about it. I think this year there's been a lot of pockets of different segments of gamers that are interested in the games that have come out, but there hasn't been like that mass market game that really has had everybody in the industry talking.
Yeah. It's interesting. You talk about Metaphor Re-Fantazio, which is currently, and I'll discuss some of the reviews here in just a second, currently at a 94 Metacritic. But this has been a really good year for JRPGs as well. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Metaphor Re-Fantazio, Persona 3 Reload, Shigami Tensei 5 Vengeance, Unicorn Overlord. It's just been a solid year. Slobo,
I mean, if you're into JRPGs, like, you've been feasting like literally all year from like the beginning of the year, from starting with Grand Blue, and just
Grand Blue
it
Fantasy.
seemed like every month there was like a dope JRPG to dive into. So, like, if you're into those games, like, this is probably one of the best years you've had in a long time, because they've been slapping us upside the head with great JRPGs all year long.
Big facts. I can't wait for Metaphor this Friday. I went before the demo. I was like, I'm probably going to pick it up a little bit later because this month is real busy with game releases. But after playing the demo, like, the more I've thought about it, it's like, nah, I'm going to have to play this at launch and try to get as far as I can or beat it before Dragon Age the Veilguard comes out at the end of the month. But yeah, man, this has been a great year for JRPGs. A great year for Sega, I would say, in particular, because they dropped a lot of fire.
Yeah, like a
Atlas.
dragon.
Yeah. Persona 3 Reload as well with Atlas. It's they've really been putting in that work. And if you really like these kind of games, you're feasting. Trials of Mana.
Woo!
Like, there's a lot of games. I mean,
Yuden Chronicles.
Go ahead.
Trails of Reverie came out this year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's been, like I said, it felt like just about every 3 weeks there was a new big JRPG that was coming out. So, like, no problems, no complaints from me about not having games to play this year.
Yeah.
My backlog is real. My backlog is so real right now. Like, it's just, somebody, you mentioned Dragon Age. Some of the initial, like, I know some people have played it or demoed it. Some of the feedback's were pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't wait, man.
I can't wait for BioWare to do good. I've been waiting for them to deliver, and it's been like it's been a decade since the last time they've delivered on a big game. So yeah, I'm really hoping that this turns out great for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I was a little iffy on the art style when they first showed it off, but it's grown on me. That. It's definitely grown on me, and just
and
I've
that's
been
something
keeping up with all the gameplay and stuff. It looks really good.
Yeah, and that's something that people need to understand when it comes to Dragon Age, is that that you got the people that's all like, Dragon Age should be a CRPG, and I'm like, it's only been a CRPG in the first game. The combat and art style of every Dragon Age game has been different every single time.
Yeah.
So
every time.
yeah, that's more of a staple of the franchise than it being a CRPG. That was just one game. So like people gotta stop trying to pigeonhole those developers into doing something that was made for the game. Like, how long ago was that? That was like 15 years ago. So it's just like, no, that's not the game that I mean, it's the same IP with the same universe of the world of, you know, Thetis and all that stuff, but that's 15 years ago. You want to play Origins, it's on multiple platforms. Go play Origins. But this is Veilguard, and it's going to be different, like all of them are. Even down to the interpretation of how certain characters look. In the very first game, the Canary didn't have horns. In the second game, they have horns on their head. Like, and yeah, I'm not saying you have to like the art style, not at all, but just the way people seem to not get that, like, yeah, it's going to look different. It's going to be different, but that's not really why the franchise has been so good. But it is what it is. Hopefully, it's great. I hope it's in the part of the game of the year conversation too.
Yeah, I mean, the nostalgia for me of BioWare of old, you know, getting their mojo back. Yeah, I mean, I would love that if that happened. But it does sound like from what I've read from some people who played it, some of the feedback sounds pretty good. But we'll see. We'll see how, you know, once people get their hands on it. You know what the reviews have to say about the game.
Trying to set this thing up, so you might hear plastic.
Yeah, no worries, man. No worries. Yeah, but
I bought NVIDIA Shield Pro.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm about to set this up as a mirror for my PC. I'm gonna have it on the other side of the house. So,
okay.
Trying to set this thing up and everything. This stupid plastic won't let go.
Oh my god, scissors, man! All right, I want to read some reviews here. As I mentioned earlier, Metaphor Re-Fantazio. I've played the demo. I really am enjoying this game. It obviously borrows elements from Persona. It's set in more of a medieval setting, but it's definitely taking elements of Persona and the Shin Megami Tensei formula and kind of injected it in this kind of medieval setting. And like I said, I'm enjoying this quite a bit. But VGC gave it 100. They said Metaphor of Fantasia could have so easily been Persona with the names filed off, but it's so much more than that. It matches incredibly fun, expansive combat with an excellent cast of characters that make the nearly 100-hour journey a memorable one. That's my only thing. Like my only hesitation in this game is like, do I want to spend 100 hours in a game because there's so many other games I want to play?
Yeah,
that's kind of the
those Persona games. Those kind of RPGs. They definitely are long.
Oh, when I played Persona 5, put in over 120 hours. I got tired of going back to Mementos. Like, God, get me out of here. My least favorite part of that game. Eurogamer gave it 100. They said Persona Veteran Atlas flexes its expertise with a fresh take on high fantasy. What it lacks in subtlety, it makes up for in grandeur and heart. GameSpot gave it a 100. Somehow Metaphor Re-Fantazio is even greater than some of its parts, yet each piece of the game is masterfully crafted. I found the whole experience transcendent and was impressed by how it felt both novel yet familiar, elevated and modern, yet so reminiscent of the fantasy RPGs I sunk countless hours into in my little gray PlayStation.
I think it definitely evolves some of the game design that they've done in the previous games. For example, the personas that you typically would see. So in previous Persona games, or I think so with Shin Megami Tensei. I've only played like one of them and I haven't finished it yet, Vengeance. But your party, your other characters in your party, like you would kind of like your strategy would be kind of based on like you see the weaknesses of enemies in the the dungeon/palaces, and you would choose your party based upon what abilities their personas had. Now you can kind of choose roles for each of your party. So it's not, that kind of makes it a little bit more, I think, narrative based and focused, because you can focus on characters that actually have agency with what's going on in the moment, and just choose a archetype, which is what they call them in Metaphor, that fits the combat dynamic you need for that time period. So for example, in the demo, I had the main character set up as a healer, I had another character set up as a knight, which is more of a tank, and then I had the third character as a mage. And so this kind of allowed me to have like the healer keeping the tank up. The tank was using an ability that kept drawing aggro from the enemies to try to damage her, and keeping damage off of my other two characters. And then I had my mage just hitting them with like really hard damaging magic attack. Like, it's like this kind of game design it's reminiscent of what they've done before, but it's a little bit better. And I like that. I like that the characters aren't just kind of carbon cutouts of previous Atlas games, which has been a criticism of them in the past. Like, if you played 3 Reload, 4 Golden, and 5 Royal, you could look at like all of the characters in those games and say, this is this guy, this is that guy, that's that girl. They have the same personality.
That's so true.
Whereas in Metaphor, they actually kind of broke out of that mold, and I'm really enjoying it. It's really good.
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, it's just so many. I the 100-hour thing, Slow-Mo, and then I'm thinking about Dragon Age Veilguard, and just, oh man, so many games and not enough time, man.
Yeah,
but didn't they say that Veilguard is supposed to be like more tight knit, where you're not doing like all these unnecessary like side missions and stuff?
Yeah, it's supposed to be a little more. I don't want to use the word streamlined, but more focused.
Yeah.
Which is actually that's, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a benefit for the game.
Yeah, I don't think every game needs to have like abundance of side quests. I'm okay with like the the fall open world. Where it's not, where it appears open, where it's a little more linear. I'm okay with that.
I like the skill trees for Veilguard. They're very in depth, and there's a lot of crap. What is this? There's a lot of options, and so like, let's say you have a rogue, you have all these different subclasses for the rogue, and then you can start something in one place, and then just keep adding levels to then branch into other subclasses, so you can kind of create your own build out of it. And you know me, I love like builds and being able to do stuff like that. So yeah, I'm really excited for that.
Yeah. Let's see here. I'm trying to find like the, looks like multiplayer. No, I don't even know who that site is. Some of PC Games gave it a 90. That's one of the lowest scores that I've seen of the game so far. But yeah, I'm definitely picking it up.
Pretty wild that like on all 3 platforms, it's a 90.
Yeah, it is a 90. Yeah, it's what is it? Let's see here. Let's look at the other platforms here.
I think PC is a 91 and Xbox is a 92.
Yep, 92
and
Xbox.
94 on PlayStation.
Yeah, 94 PS5, 91 PC, 92 Xbox. That is correct. And Silent Hill 2 is out now too. That's another one that was reviewed well last week.
I gotta stop calling them Boo Boo Team, because that's been my name for them for a long, long time. And I just gotta say, they actually, even though I still think doing a remake is easier than creating a brand new title, I have to give them respect that they actually I didn't think they could do this, and they did it. So
yeah, I was concerned too. Yeah. I mean, Slobo. I mean, they're the games that they've made haven't really been good games. Yeah,
just keep the butt. They ain't been good.
Yeah, I mean, I think when we all heard Bloober Team, it was like, whoa, no, wait a minute. But props to them. I mean, seriously, like, I mean, for them to do, to do this, to take on this remake, which isn't easy by any stretch of the imagination, and to more or less stick the landing. I mean, props to them.
Yeah.
I won't be playing it though. I don't have any interest in it.
Yeah, I don't play them kind of games. I'm good.
Yeah. What about you, B? Are you any interest in Silent Hill 2, or is that something you're not interested in?
I'll definitely pick it up, but no time soon. It'll definitely be something I pick up on sale. There's too much other stuff to play, man.
Yeah.
With Metaphor coming this week, Dragon Age at the end of the month. I'm still playing 2K pretty heavy. I just won't have time. The Mario Party Jamboree comes out on the 17th, so there's just so many games to play. And with it being a remake, isn't something that I just have to play right now.
Yeah. I hear you. I'm with you there, B. There's a lot of newer games that are coming out. For me, it's going to be Metaphor, Re-Fantazio. I'm still playing Astronaut, still playing Black Myth Wukong. I see Better String says, like, hey, BRAP, can we just talk about the best news of the week? Alien Isolation 2 has been announced. That actually, when that game came out for the 10 years ago. God, I can't believe it's been 10 years since that game came out. It received generally favorable reviews. It the Metacritic 79 or 80, if I remember correctly. But that game got a sequel to that game has been announced 10 years later. Not my cup of tea, but I'm happy for the fans because I know there's been some fans that have been asking for a sequel that really enjoyed it. Anyone? Have you guys played Alien Isolation? I didn't play it, but I remember a lot of people seemed to dig it when it came out.
I don't play. That's another horror game I do not play. These people over here Until Dawn I rock with. Alien Isolation, Isolation, Silent Hill. I don't even really rock with like Resident Evil like that. I'm good. Definitely not Outlast. Don't put me in a game where all I got is a flashlight or a camera.
I won't play that.
And I don't even got a weapon. Like, forget that. But I got people in the DPS community keep trying to get me to play Alien Isolation or Silent Hill. So I don't know. I might end up being forced to do it. We'll see what happens, but I'm not looking forward. I didn't even finish Dead Space. Although that was dope. The Dead Space remake was pretty good.
Dead Space remake was really good. And by the way,
I ain't finished it.
By the way, a beautiful looking game too. At that,
mm-hmm.
Like I played it. I got it on PC because of course I would, right? But man, what a great looking game, Slow Mo. Woo, the lighting. Woo, good game.
Yep. So yeah, like I think it's been a good year for those kind of games too. Horror games. Until Dawn came back. It wasn't. I think it needed some time in the oven to cook longer, but they clearly decided we're going to release it now to try to capitalize on the season, which is, October, close to Halloween. It's got horror themed. It's, that campy kind of, teen horror thing going on. They said, yeah, we're just going to release it now. It needed like probably another month or two to kind of like get everything kind of fleshed out. A lot of bugs, a lot of crashing, people crashing on PlayStation 5 and PC. I had multiple times, I had totems that would not activate. So they got to fix that for people to even get the achievement or trophy for collecting all the totems. There was a time where I got frozen, where there was supposed to be a prompt that was supposed to come up to kind of help me go to the next step. That happened like twice, and I had to restart the game. But I mean, but I do kind of like the changes. They kind of fleshed out the story a little bit more, and kind of explained some of the things that were a little bit unexplained in the story. For those who played the original, there is an incentive to play the remake to kind of get greater context on some things and see the new ending that kind of leads them into the sequel and the movie that they just finished filming this week, actually. So I think it's pretty good.
I was going to ask you something, Slimo, and now I completely forgot, man. Nah.
They'll come back to you.
I'll figure it out. Oh, I was going to ask you, Slimo. Are you? What do you think about the 5090 cars, the 5080?
I think the 5080 is going to be a lot of drama. I think from what I've seen, more than likely what's going to happen is NVIDIA is going to do what they did with the current generation cards, where they're going to lock down features and make them exclusive to the current the RTX 5000 series cards in order to create more value for them. Because if you just look at the pure specs of the 5080 and compare it to the 4090, that's not much of a jump.
So,
and traditionally, the 5070 is like half of the performance of the flagship card. So the 3070 was half the performance of the 3090. The 4070 was half the performance of the 4090. This time, the 5080 is half the performance of the 5090, which, if that's how you're going to roll, cool. But are you going to give us a 5070 level kind of price? I doubt it. I actually think they're going to give the 5080 the same price that the 4090 had this year. So it's going to be a $1,600 card that's half the performance of the 5090. That's ridiculous. And they tried this kind of foolishness with the 4000 series cards.
Yeah.
And you remember they introduced two 4080s, and one of them was 12 gigabytes. And they tried to pass it off as a 4080 as if it was the same chipset as the 16 gigabyte 4080, but it wasn't. It was actually using the chipset of the 4070. And people was like, nah, fam, we ain't dumb. We know this is basically just a better version of your 4070. This isn't the same value of the 4080, just with less VRAM. And so they essentially unannounced the card and then reintroduced it later on as the 4070 Ti Super, which is exactly what it is. It's a overclocked, 4070, and it's just NVIDIA. This is what happens when a company has so much ownership over a market, and they run a market so well that they just feel like they can get away with murder. And what are you going to do about it? When you own 88% of the GPU market, you dictate how things go, and your response to everything is, what you going to do, buy AMD? Because clearly y'all don't like AMD because y'all don't buy it. So we gonna price this completely unimpressive 5080 at $1,600, and you're either gonna buy it or you're gonna shut up. Because what you're not going to do is buy AMD. And AMD is already, at this point, they already said they ain't trying to make high-end cards no more, because all they doing is wasting their money. They make them, they perform. Say what?
I said they make them, they perform well, but nobody buys them.
And nobody buys them. And I get it a little bit, because AMD is always behind NVIDIA in upscaling features, ray tracing, and AMD doesn't innovate with new things. NVIDIA innovates with new things, and then AMD goes, okay, we'll do our watered down Dollar General version of that. And it's just like, You ain't attracting people that way. But if people who claim ray tracing is just a scam, ray tracing is overrated, it's a gimmick, you don't need that. I'm all about native resolutions, TAA, even they don't know what TAA means. It's temporal anti-aliasing for some of you guys who don't know what that means. Like, they don't know what none of that stuff means, but they don't like upscalers. But then you buy NVIDIA instead of AMD because if you really cared about that, you'd be all over AMD because that's what they give you in spades. So it's just
yeah. Real quick, Slobo.
Yeah.
And the reason I ask about the 5080, 5090 because there's some reporting coming from Verge today that NVIDIA will reportedly announce its RTX 5070 GPU alongside the RTX 5090 and RTX 5080 at the Consumer Electronics Show January of this coming January 2025. And NVIDIA CEO Jensen Hong, who needs more leather jackets, will be holding a CES keynote on January 6th. Also being reported, rumor specs of the RTX, or actually according to WCCF Tech's report, also points to a more powerful RTX 5080 than expected. The unannounced GPU will reportedly have 32 gigabytes memory speed instead of the rumored 28 gigabytes per second, and a maximum bandwidth of 1,024 gigabytes instead of the 896 gigabytes that was rumored. If these specs are correct, then as Video Cards points out, this could mean that the RTX 5080 is faster and requires less power than the existing RTX 4090.
The only reason they announced that 5070 is to show that they're going to have a card that's going to be that can be valuable, because they know that 5080 card is going to be closer price to the 5090. That's the only reason why they announcing that 5070, because they normally don't do that. They only announce the first two cards, and the 5070 and the 70 and the 60s cards are announced after that.
Yeah, because
go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because last time, to B's point, the 40 series cards they announced September of 2022, and it was only the 4090, 4080. It wasn't until the CES 2024. No, wait, when did they announce the 4070 now? Because I know they did the super cards in 2024, but when was the 4070 announced? Because that was
announced 2 years ago. It was like 2 years ago.
But it was after the September announcement of the 4090, 40. I got to go back and look.
Yeah. It was after. They did the 4080 and 4090 first, and then they did the 47 on down their generation stack after that. Guaranteed, they're going to have like DLSS 4.0.
Oh, the 4070. Real quick, I'm sorry, Slobo. The 4090 was announced April 12th of 2023.
Okay.
Yeah. So to B's point, they announced the 4090, 4080 September 2022. 4070 announcement didn't come till April the following year. Yeah. So they're going to lock DLSS 4.0 to the 5000 series cards. And it's going to have, like, for the 4000 series cards, they lock DLSS 3.0 to the 4000 series cards, and a feature like frame generation. DLSS's frame generation was exclusive to it as well. It won't stay exclusive forever, though. They eventually, after a while, bring in the other cards so that they kind of keep up and keep ahead of their competition in AI, machine learning, and upscaling and all that good stuff. Because DLSS 3.5 came out on the older generation cards too, and that's the one that had the biggest leap in innovation, because then they were able to do ray reconstruction, which is essentially upscaling the resolution of ray tracing as well, and not just straight rasterization of the non-ray traced environments. So that allowed
people with like 4070s and 3070s to actually turn on ray tracing and still play at a acceptable frame rate.
Oh man,
that allow people with a 4080 and a 4090 to turn on path tracing in Cyberpunk and then just watch their eyes blow up with how great that looked and still play at a acceptable frame rate. So like that kind of stuff. So I would say don't let NVIDIA trick you at CES into thinking you need this card. Unless you have like a 2000 series card, you don't need it.
What about somebody like me who's got a 3070?
You probably don't need this now.
What?
Wait. You have a 3070, so you have 8 gigs of VRAM.
Yeah. I could use
you need to upgrade.
I could use an upgrade.
You need to upgrade. 8 gigs of VRAM is not enough anymore.
If the 5070 is, I'm hoping it's within the same price range. I think the 4070 is $600 at launch. But I feel like it wouldn't shock me if NVIDIA raised the prices of their cards for the 50 series. Somebody in live chat says, Jensen be like, get it ready. Oh my goodness. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I'm curious to see what the price point of the because that's my sweet spot. I'm probably not someone who's ever going to buy a 5080 or 5090. 5070 is my sweet spot. The 70 series or that mid tier, right, of GPU from NVIDIA is kind of where I sit at. I had the 2070, upgraded the 3070, held off on the 4070 because I feel like I didn't need it, but I was eyeing the 5070. So, what do you think, Silva? You think the 5070 will come in at like $600, or do you think it's going to come in higher?
It's going to be $699 or more. I would say $799.
I'm thinking like $800, like
$799.
Jeez, it'll be closer to $1,000 than it is the $600. I think they are. If you look at what happened at the 3 and 4000 generation, the what was the 3070, like $500? I think the 3070 was $500.
Yeah, it was $499. Yep.
Yeah, and the 3080 was $800.
Yeah, was it?
I thought it was
yeah,
you're right.
The 3070 was 3070 was $500, 4070 it was $600. So I mean, if we would go,
but this is what I'm saying. The 3090 was a $1,200 card, and everyone flipped out when they came out with the 4000 series cards. They made the 4080 $1,200. That was the price of the 3090 last generation, and the 3090 became $1,600. And the 4070 went up like what? They didn't really push that one up too much. It went up to $600, but then the 4070 Ti was like $650 or $700, and then the 4070 Ti Super was $800. What will happen this time? The 5070 is going to have that 4070 Ti Super's price. That in their eyes, probably internally, they still look at it as a 4080. So that's going to be $800, somewhere in that range, $800 ish. The 5080 is going to now have, because remember, it took the previous 90s, generations dollar amount. It's going to go from being a $1,200 card to a $1,600 card, and then they're going to have a brand new, unheard of price for that 5090. I'm thinking $2,000.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me. Well, we'll find out. We'll find out soon. Man, I'm watching coverage of the storm right now, the hurricane.
Has it already hit?
Yeah, I mean, I'm watching, you have Anderson Cooper out there in the middle of the storm. I'm like, dude, go inside. Like, what are you doing? I'm waiting for something like a piece of debris to come and knock him off his feet. Like, why? Well, I don't know. I don't get it. You wouldn't catch me out there. Wouldn't happen. All right, Slobo, I know this is or maybe not music to your ears, but 343 is rebranded as Halo Studios, and they have switched to the Unreal Engine 5 now. So they're finally getting rid of the slip space engine. And I'm going to read an article here from GameIndustry.biz. Microsoft has announced several major changes to 343 Industries, obviously the studio behind Halo games, including a new game, a new engine, and the beginning work on multiple new titles in its flagship shooter series. 343 Industries, we now known as Halo Studios. As well as the rebranded developer is seeing changes in culture, workflow, and how its teams are organized, which is probably a good thing given the development challenges of Halo Infinite. And as I mentioned, they're getting rid of the slip space as you go into Unreal Engine 5. They did actually share some screenshots as well, which I think many of us have seen. Many of us have seen online. They said all future Halo projects will now be built with Epic Games tech, and multiple new games are now in development, with announcements described as a new dawn for Halo. Speaking of Xbox, Wire leaders from the studio discussed the many reasons behind the switch, including the advantage of hiring staff already experienced in a widely used engine, rather than having to train them up on a proprietary technology. 343 Industries previously had to dedicate a large portion of its staff to ongoing development and upkeep of Slipspace. The team is now going with Epic Games to ensure Unreal Engine meets Halo's needs. The way we made Halo games before doesn't necessarily work as well for the way we want to make games for the future, said Halo Studio CEO Elizabeth Van Wyck. So part of the conversation we had was about how we help teams focus on making games versus making the tools and the engines. The company also emphasized that this is the beginning of this new chapter, and that there's no imminent plans to announce or release a new Halo game. It said updates and additions will continue for Halo Infinite while the next titles are in the works. So, all right, gentlemen, what are your thoughts on the name change, the switch to Unreal Engine 5? I have seen some people say that Halo's back. I think it's a bit premature.
Yeah, it's a bit premature.
Yeah, but
I think things are looking up. I like the choice to change the name. The 343 Industries name is dirt, less than dirt. It's dumpster juice, and you're not going to fool the hardcore into thinking that you're a brand new studio. But, the casual gamer that, has just heard that 343 sucks, like they won't immediately recognize that 343 is Halo. So it's good for image reasons that you would change your name. Going with Unreal Engine, you're beholden to Epic and their ability to make the engine that be what you need it to be. Although a lot of studios, much of the bigger ones work with Epic, create their own tools in order to make it work for them, and then Epic kind of incorporates that into Unreal Engine itself. But it's easier for them to make development happen when Unreal Engine 5 has its problems, but it's better than Slipspace. And then this also kind of helps them with their contractor issue. I still think, they should, the richest company in the world should just hire these people on full time, especially when they're core to your development of your game. But this allows them to get around the issue of, let's say, okay, so the numbers are like you can only, because they work out of Redmond, Washington, and in the state of Washington, you can't have a contractor under contract for longer than 15 months. And then there's got to be a 6-month cool off. What this means is that what it meant for previous game development is they had people working on the game engine, working on the game itself, that were coming in and they don't know anything about Slipspace because they've never used it before. And they've never developed on it before. So they got to get up to speed on that. That takes time. Then they got to get up to speed on doing the job that the previous contractor was doing before his contract was up. So that takes more time. If that previous person wasn't very good with note taking and putting notes in their code and stuff like that, you got to figure out, what does this mean? What does that mean? That's more time being taken. And by the time you finally got your feet wet and you're comfortable and you're getting the work done, whoopsie, now it's time. You're winding down your time on this contract. It's stupid. It was a stupid idea for them to do that, and it was poor leadership to allow it to happen and fester for so long. Now you're getting people in who already know the game engine. So you're hiring them because they've worked on Unreal Engine in other places. So now you don't have to worry about that. You're just basically just trying to integrate them into the team culture. Shout out to Pierre Heinz, black man, running the studio. He turned around Master Chief Collection. So it's the hope, it's not a guarantee, but it's the hope that he can turn around the studio itself and not just the game. But things are looking good. And although things are looking good, there's no guarantee that it's all going to turn out great. They're going to have their trials and tribulations to deal with. It's game development. It is what it is. But with new leadership, there is the hope that the weaknesses of old leadership, them being too weak to set a direction and stick to it, them playing politics and not allowing former Bungie employees to work there and trying not to make it seem like we're still Bungie's Halo, even though you're using literally Bungie's engine to make it. Like, hello? Like, all of that foolishness hopefully is out the window. And now that they're not trying to build a game engine while also build a game, and they're just focusing on making a game, hopefully we get some of these Halo games out faster. And there are of a level of quality where there's content there. And the content's good. So that's what I'm hoping for. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see how it turns out.
Yeah, I'm kind of like, I don't know. Let me go to B. What are your thoughts, man, on the change, the name, and everything, and the shift to Unreal Engine 5?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with Slow-Mo in regards to changing the name. I think this just allows them a clean slate. That 343 Industries name was stained. I mean, they haven't released, what people who are fans of Halo would consider a complete game. The last 3 times they've released games. So I think, changing the name was a smart move. Instilling, some leadership there is a smart move as well. So, I think, they have a chance to redeem themselves and come out with quality product that people, feel is worth their time and their money. I think the biggest question is where do they kind of go from here? Like, yeah, they're changing the name, they changed the engine, but what do they do with the actual franchise? How many more times are we going to reboot it? How expansive, do they plan on taking the franchise? What core gameplay elements do they think they need to change to engage younger audiences? I've seen a lot of conversation, throughout the timeline about Halo and why it's not as popular these days, and the audience that is kind of drawing. And it's like, guys are our age, we have this love for Halo. We experienced it, when it first released, when Halo and Halo 2 were the biggest things in gaming. But now that's not the case. You know what I mean? So how do you capture a younger audience where, they're more into having crazy dances and crazy skins in their game, and that's not what Halo is. You know what I mean? So, what steps do you take to engage a new audience is the biggest question for me. And should be for them as well. As they, kind of look to the future of what Halo is.
Yeah, for me, it's I there's a level of nostalgia that I have for Halo, because it was, I mean, really, it's as we all know, it's the franchise, the game that put Xbox on the map. That when the original Xbox launched, people went out and bought an Xbox for Halo, and it set a new bar for the industry, and it had such an impact on the industry as well. I don't know. I want Halo to be good again. I just want I guess for me, like I want a good story. I feel like there's a lot of good lore, a lot of the books, and like even season 2 of the Halo TV show I thought was pretty good. But it had a good story though. And that's what I feel like that was kind of a letdown for me with Infinite. And I don't know, maybe they explore not going with Master Chief as the main protagonist. I always say they should kill Chief. I mean, Halo Reach is one of my favorite Halo games, and Chief isn't in that. It's got a little bit of a darker undertone, I thought, for a Halo game. I don't want to spoil the ending. But I don't know. Like I want just a good story from the next Halo. I don't want this open sandbox where you're just driving around, and that just wasn't fun for me. You know, I'd like to see them maybe take Halo at. We talked about Dragon Age Veilguard earlier. I think it was B Money said that it's maybe not as open world, or you don't have as many side quests. You know, it's more linear in that regard than previous Dragon Ages, and maybe that's the direction I want to see them go. Where it's maybe Halo's not as this big open sandbox. Maybe you have certain maps or certain levels or missions that incorporate that design element, but then I have others that are more linear nature. From what I remember, that was kind of the case with the first Halo. But I also think that you know, I don't know. I mean, to your point, like how do you make Halo attractive to a younger core? I mean, I really like what they're doing, and maybe one of the things they should do, maybe look at an origin story, right? You know, of Master Chief, you know, being taken.
But I mean, that's parents. The rumor.
I mean,
that's the rumor that they're doing a remake of Halo Combat Evolved, so that would kind of like, you know, bring it back to the beginning. Although, that's not going to generate interest from the younger generations. I think it's not the way Chief looks, but it's more of how the game plays.
But what about
even though Halo Infinite plays great, you know, in my opinion, but I gotta recognize that I'm a 43-year-old man that this plays great too, and I love my arena shooters. And when I play Call of Duty, I play multiplayer, but multiplayer is not as popular as Call of Duty Warzone, and that's where the majority of this 2/3 of the Call of Duty community plays there now. You know, Call of Duty Activision made that evolution. You got to get with the times. Epic with Fortnite is constantly changing. You play Fortnite right now, you got Iron Man suits, you got Warzone suits, you got Captain America shields. This is all happening in the current season of Fortnite right now. 3 months ago, none of that stuff was in there. Fortnite is always reinventing itself to keep current. And when you want to make a live service game, and you want to make a live service game that's going to keep the interest of the gaming community, one, you got to have one that is good enough to take the attention away from people's main games. And then you got to have it be so much better than those previous games that these people are playing, that they ignore this feeling of like wasting their money, because they have invested so much money in custom skins and whatnot in all of these games, that they feel like they can put that game down and not play it as consistently to play your game. But in order to keep their attention, you can't be static, and you can't take too long to come out with content. This is the main reason why Halo Infinite failed when it came to that front, is that it took them too long to come out with new maps new weapons, new anything, because slip space was so difficult to work with. Now that they kind of, rectify that issue, they gotta be able to, just because the game engine isn't your millstone, your roadblock, doesn't mean that you won't have roadblocks. You still need to come out with content. And you need to kind of gameplay that they care about. And I think the way that they do, like aiming down sights isn't in Halo an important aspect of gameplay for the most part. And for most shooters, it is. And so there's certain aspects of it that, like, the Halo community is going to have to just suck it up, because you're going to have to lose some of the Halo feel in order to get the attention of people who aren't you. And you're just not enough anymore. It's not enough of y'all to justify 5 years of AAA development and hundreds of millions of dollars. Like, you don't make enough money to justify that. They want more. And in order to get more, they're going to have to go make a game that appeals to the age range of like 18 to 35.
Well, I think
those people don't care about Halo.
Well, I don't think they're ever going to get people who are diehard Fortnite that are invested in Fortnite. What I do think, though, is that maybe try to keep the core Halo player engaged, because, I mean, like, we played Halo. We played a lot of Halo together. I think we would have probably still been playing Halo had the cadence of new content, and actually, and not just content, but I think my complaint, like, and I had fun playing with you and Forte and Logic, and but I think part of the issue was that I don't think the reward system was that rewarding. Like, okay, yeah. I got a new armor set. Okay. I always thought maybe they should allow some customization of weapons, kind of similar to, what Call of Duty does, something to kind of keep us engaged. But I think one of the issues they had, to your point, Simo, was being able to kind of keep up with releasing enough content to get people engaged. I mean, for me, when you start playing the same people 4 or 5 matches in a row, I think that's telling of, of the reach.
Ain't too many people playing right now.
Yeah, exactly. But to my point about, an origin story, maybe not. And I'll admit I would buy a Halo Combat Evolved remake. I think that's a safe bet for them. It wouldn't surprise me if they did that. We see, other publishers making remakes of very popular games. It's worked well for Capcom with Resident Evil. We'll see how Silent Hill 2 does retail. And I think that would certainly, and I wouldn't be surprised either too if they release Combat Evolved on the PlayStation. I mean, for them, it's about making money at this point, and they're, I think you would agree with this, B Money. They're pretty much a third party publisher. And again, that's not shade at them. That's just the evolution of their business model, because it makes sense for them. But I wouldn't be surprised if there was a Combat Evolved, if there was a remake that it made its way to PlayStation. And I think that game would sell very well on the PlayStation because it's never been there. But I don't know. For me, at least, I want to see, just from a single player perspective, just better storytelling. I brought up the idea of an origin story of a blue team. I know that Halo 5 Guardians, Master Chief, is with blue team. But maybe that origin story that they kind of alluded to a bit in the Halo TV show, maybe that, because one of the things I love about the Gears E-Day is that it's kind of an origin story of sorts. You get a younger Dom and a younger Marcus Phoenix, which I think is really cool. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think? I mean, outside of,
I'm about to, okay, I have an idea.
Yeah.
Now, before I say this idea, I need you guys to open your mind
Oh boy.
And not judge it before I'm done, okay?
Kill Master Chief.
No. The exact
Go ahead.
opposite.
What you got, Slow-Mo?
A Halo Reach dating sim. Now think about this for a moment. Just before you just completely
hold on.
throw the idea out.
Dating sim?
I said don't do that.
Come on.
Just listen.
Man.
Just listen. Okay. Listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying. Okay. Take it back to Halo Reach times before they took the drugs, before they got, became freaks of nature and were putting on armor and all that stuff. Take it all the way back there. You got kids bonding, they're becoming teenagers, they got teen angst going on, they're training in Reach, to become killers.
You're trying to make
bonding.
This Persona.
Hey, Persona's popular. It works. This is what I'm saying. See, look, you think about, you got Chief, you got Blue Team, he got Kelly on one side, he got Linda on the other side. He don't know which one he want. Their hormones is changing. Then they getting drugged up by Dr. Hazley. It's drama. Lean into that CW. Lean into that CW kind of feel. It's trash, but people like it. So I'm saying, if you want to get the younger generations invested in Halo, where they actually give the other Halo games a shot, show them Master Chief without his helmet. Just learning to shoot a pistol and also learn to shoot his shot with a girl. It worked.
You're borrowing stuff from the TV show because he does have a love interest.
Yeah, but he's all in the TV show. It's poorly written. He's an old guy and nobody care. I'm talking about think about like a Life is Strange or one of those games where you get the choice to kind of navigate how that goes. And of course you're going to have in typical Telltale fashion, there's the illusion of choice. Like you have a choice about this or that, but when big events happen and it just doesn't matter what your choices were, certain people will die and there will be a canon ending, or canon endings or whatever. But it all has to kind of tie into the main story still being what it is. But when you get player agency, people become more invested. There's that. And I think they should go, if you're going to go live service again on the next Halo game, allow players to create their own Spartan 4. Have a character creator. You make your Halo, your Spartan, and then have that Spartan have its own story, its own agency in the Halo universe, interacting with Spartan Locke and all the other Spartans that you know about, interacting, going on missions with Master Chief. This way, you get the younger gamers in because they feel like this is my Spartan. I designed their armor. I designed this or that. I maybe even designed the AI that rolls with them. And this is how you get people more invested in the game instead of trying to get them invested in really kind of a blank slate main character, which Master Chief is. He ain't got a lot of personality. He got his one-liners, finish the fight. Give me a gun. Can I stick it? It's just a lot of the personality in Halo has to do with other characters around Chief. But this is a way to give people player agency in that universe and still respect Chief as that dude. So, two ideas I have, they would work whether people believe it or not.
I don't. I don't know.
It's
fine. Interesting pitch.
I'm telling you, especially the second one. Your own Spartan, you go on your own missions, you base that around. You can have that same. You can use that Spartan in multiplayer. So that's your Spartan in multiplayer, and you want to have taking the helmet off all the time. do that with your character that you created. Everybody will want to see their own person's face what they created on their own. But like, keep that mystique of Master Chief the way it is. He don't take his helmet off, too often. When we have seen, glimpses of his face and stuff, he's as pale as can be because that thing never really coming off like that. But that's cool. He's the Master Chief. Keep that mystique there. But then give players more agency in the world by having their own character, and I think that would work. And then you can have like your multiplayer missions, and you're getting together with your squads, you're creating your fire team, and now your whole squad, everyone's got their own Spartan in it, and they're all invested. That would work.
That is a
also
I agree.
The data some will work too.
Part of it. I think that creating your own Spartan should definitely be part of it. What I really think they should do is double down on what they did with Halo 5 and having blue team in the game. I think they should either have like skill sets or classes, however you want to set it up. But I think if you're going to go and make it a live service game, it has to include, a multiplayer co-op PvE type aspect to the game. And I think if you allow classes to be in the game, similar to what they did in Halo 5, that kind of allows people to have their own play style, while you're creating your Spartan. And it just brings different dynamics to the game. Having someone be like a sniper specialist and someone, being a scout and someone who's really good at like hand-to-hand combat, like all that stuff, I think would be dope. And just bring a different aspect to Halo. And I think that would actually help attract, maybe not a younger audience, but maybe a wider audience. Instead of kind of sticking to the traditional, everybody's basically the same Spartan, you know what I mean? And then we're all fighting over these particular weapons that are centered into the zone. We all got the same gun or whatever. But if you kind of open it up a little bit and let everybody kind of choose whatever weapon they want, based on class, and then some Spartans have different abilities. I think that'll at least be the start of changing up the gameplay and maybe introduce more people to the game.
Yeah, look, those are some interesting ideas. I do like the what B and what Slomo and B, what you guys were just saying about kind of that ownership of your Spartan, kind of customizing it. I think that might be cool. I think I know I talked a lot about the what I want from a campaign single player Halo, but I think multiplayer. We got some details of a project Tatanka that was canceled, and you were supposed to it was the battle royale. You're supposed to drop in, and the ODST capsule drop into that, and I think that would be cool if they did that. And I think if from a multiplayer perspective, I think they like, to your point, Slomo, I think it would be cool. Cool if you create your own Spartan and then you bring that from the campaign into the multiplayer.
It will work, man.
Yeah, how many ways can you modify Spartan armor that you play as the villains? You could play as the villains in the multiplayer Halos.
I would say if you play Halo Reach, there's a lot of different armors out there. They have every season they have a completely different kind of so like there's like you got your Morgan armor 5 and then 6 and then 7, and they all look, you can look at once you're so familiar with Halo, you look at an armor and what class it is, which version it is, which generation it is and stuff. They got some of them I would say are pretty hideous, but they're different. They all look very different. Some of them look very awesome, and the skins for them are excellent. But the problem is, and I think part of the reason why they allow the third person mode is they have to recognize that gamers are different now. And if I'm going to invest all this time in making my Spartan look cool, I don't want to do that so that the guy I'm killing says, "Oh, that's a cool looking Spartan."
Right.
I want to see my Spartan killing people. So allowing the option for a third person perspective is them, I believe, is them kind of opening the door to different ideas. And they pretty much alluded a lot to that already, with saying they're going in a new direction with Halo. And I hope that they stick to that, because I think what 343 would do was they would try new things. And I actually, this is going to be very unpopular, but I actually enjoy Halo 4's multiplayer. Yeah, it had a unlimited sprint, and it was very much kind of like Call of Duty, but I thought the gunplay was pretty cool. But it was so different from Halo 3
the diehards were so angry. That Halo 4,
and so
yeah.
They gotta let go of them, some of them people, and I think a lot of it's cap. I think they're bluffing. I'm never going back to Halo if they do. They said that about Sprint. Keep bringing Sprint, and I'm done. All right, they kept sprinting. You're still playing the game. Shut up. You're not done. There's a lot of cap out there from people who play Halo day in and day out. They still on MCC right now playing Halo. And they're not going anywhere. They will keep playing Halo. They are still playing Halo Infinite. They're like one of less than 10,000 playing Halo Infinite right now. They ain't going nowhere. So forget them. You always have them. Keep evolving the game to keep up with current times, and you will get more people in. And if some of them do fall off and then find something else to play, oh well. But you have to make your game. You're not making a game designed by a dude that don't even work at your company no more, from a company that used to make the game 20 years ago. That's not your game design. The game design is what you and your colleagues come up with in your meetings. You test it out and you say, this feels good. It plays good. This is going to work. And you put it out there. And if people just go without even playing it, ew, you're doing that now, then F them. Because they didn't even play it, and they were going to prejudge it anyway. It's your company. It's your franchise. You own it. You want to be better than what Bungie did for it? You can't emulate Bungie and be better. You got to be different. But it's also got to execute and be good. So if you can execute and be good, I don't care where you take it. As long as it feels good, plays good, and I'm having a good time, I'm with you. And most players will be, but you can't keep bowing down to the losers who haven't had a shower since July in their mama's basements, talking smack on Twitter. They ain't important. And if you keep trying to listen to them, you're going to end up just like 343. My rant's over. But still, that's gotta be. I've been saying that for the longest time. I made a video about that back in 2019.
Yeah,
and of course nobody watched it. But still, it's got to happen that way. You can't ignore it. You have to do this.
Yeah. Well. Wow. Yeah. Well, it's. I gotta think a little bit more about what I want from Halo. I know I've talked about a couple things, but it's going to be interesting to see what changes, if any, they make with Halo moving forward. So we'll see. The dating thing's kind of interesting, Slow-Mo. I'll give you that. It's kind of interesting. But on that note, do want to give a big shout out to everyone in the live chat. Thank you so much for watching the show. We're going to go ahead and wrap up. Please hit that like button if you haven't done so already. We have about 72 people here watching. Also want to just send prayers out to those in Florida right now, the western part of Florida. Milton has made landfall and is impacting the west coast of Florida, particular Tampa Bay and St. Petersburg, Sarasota. I'm actually, as we're podcasting live here, I'm actually watching the news. I'm watching some of the live video feeds of different parts of Florida, and man, the water's coming. Water's actually been sucked out of parts of the bay in Tampa from the actual hurricane.
Oh man, that's not good.
No, that's not good.
Usually
that water's coming back, and a lot of it
coming back with a vengeance. Yeah,
with a lot of it. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of water coming back. That coastal surge, that flood surge. But yeah, man, it's. I mean, I was just. Matter of fact, I was just texting a colleague of mine who is outside of the evacuation zone C, but he said that he's lost power, and they have about 80 to 85 mile per hour wind gust, or winds actually, I should say, not wind gusts, 80 to 85 mile per hour winds, and he's not. Again, he's outside of the evacuation zone C. So, I mean, yeah, this thing is it's going to be scary to see the aftermath of the storm. So, just want to give a big, just thoughts and prayers out to those folks. I have friends, colleagues that are out there. Just hoping everyone is safe. So, Slow-Mo, you guys have a show tomorrow night, Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. DPS.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, man. Plug the show.
Yes, sir. Yeah, DPS podcast. We are having a show at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with me and the homie Gaming Forte. We're going to discuss Life is Halo. Finish the date. We're going to discuss the
Life is Halo.
We're going to discuss
funny.
that. We're going to discuss a lot of these games coming out. We're going to have a good time. It's going to be great. I'm putting the channel in the chat in case you're not subscribed, so that you can get notifications when we go live. Going to be a great time. And hope to see you guys there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Definitely check out DPS tomorrow. Always a great show, great conversation around all things video games. B Money. I know where you can. I know how people can find you. It's B Money 101 everywhere, correct?
It is correct. You can find me everywhere. Same name. Great to be here. Great conversation tonight, fellas.
Yes, sir. No,
everybody just
Absolutely.
enjoy gaming, man. Please, the nonsense is not necessary, man. Too many games to play. Too many other things going on in the world. Just enjoy life while we can, man.
Yeah,
Right.
like to your point, B, gaming should not be a source of anger and toxicity. And for some reason it is. So many games out there to play. So many really good games. So much fun to be had. I don't understand the need to inject toxicity into something that's supposed to be enjoyable. It's crazy. Stop the bullshit. But great having you on, B. Great having you on as well, Slow-Mo. We're gonna have to discuss some sports after this weekend. See how the Commanders fared against the Baltimore Ravens. That to me is the game of the week. Should be a good one. So, B, who are the Bears playing, by the way?
I don't know. I gotta check the schedule, man. I've been we play a weekly pick'em at my job, and the $100 buy-in. So we got 15 people, so winner takes all every week. So I gotta definitely check the schedule. We've had a pretty good couple weeks the last 3 weeks, so I've won 2 out of the last 3 weeks. So I'm up $2,800 so far on the year.
Oh wow, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Again, I'm just excited for Sunday's game. Should be a good one. I'm definitely going to talk about it. I'll probably do a podcast to talk about it. Even though we don't ever really talk about sports too much here. I'll probably do that. But someone said back in the 80s, 90s, you couldn't make money with toxicity by talking about video games, Brad. I mean, that's true. It's a good point. But that's part of the problem, though. But anyways, have a great evening, everyone. What's that, B?
The Bears are playing the Jags on Sunday. That should be a nice win for it.
That's an easy W for you guys.
Yeah, it should be.
Yeah, that should be an easy one. Yeah, Jags aren't good this year. But yeah, no, thank you everyone in the live chat for watching the show. Please hit that like button. If you're new, consider subscribing, hitting the bell notification so you're alerted when we go live. Check out DPS tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So on that note, we're out. We will catch you next time. I may do another BRAP rant later this week. So keep an eye out for that as well. But everyone have a great evening. We will catch you next time.